Hey there everybody, Colin here, and I'm going to do a quick video on a few tips to help you eat more real food from my new short book, 50 Tips for Real Food. If you're here because you're watching carnivore diet or keto or anything like that, these are a bit more specific, but there is a baseline foundation to which they're built on top of, which all diets are built on top of. And I talk about this a lot. I call it real, capital R, food, capital F, because there's one thing that we know for sure. There is a natural, proper human diet. Now, most people get caught up in arguing about macronutrients and how much of this and how much of that, and whether plants are toxic for you, you're going to kill you, whatever. But one thing we know for sure, our ancestors ate food from the wild that was real, that was raw, and that was not adulterated and processed by big corporations or cooked in restaurants or coming in a package. This is the proper human diet. This is the foundation. It's real food. And the only way to do that properly, the only way, right? You cannot do this any other way, is if you're cooking at home. If you're cooking your own raw, real ingredients at home, sourcing ideally from farmers you trust and producers that you trust, and not eating out of convenient packages, this is the only way to get the foundation of a long-term sustainable diet down. And so much of the noise around diets and the diet culture, nutrition, and all the different people that are building brands around whatever their niche is, ignores this fundamental aspect. Because it's not the thing people really want to hear. People don't want to change their habits. They don't want to change their life. And if they're not somebody who cooks or knows how to cook or has somebody cook for them, it's very unlikely that 9 out of 10 people, if you told them you can have the body and health of your dreams, even if these were 9 out of 10 overweight people, it's very unlikely that they're going to be like, really? I can do that? And all I have to do is learn how to cook and get in the kitchen and spend time and effort and maybe even money? It's just not a thing, unfortunately. So whether you're on the fence with this, or whether you find yourself sometimes slipping into going too deep into the nuances of it, let me just pull you back and remind you of the basics of the proper human diet. It's getting home, getting in your kitchen, and cooking and preparing your own food. Restaurants cook almost everything in seed oil, and they add other things, whatever. You can't eat healthy at restaurants, period. You can do less damage at restaurants if you ask them to cook your food in butter or whatever, but it's still not going to be a health promoting option for the most part. And you can't also eat in prepackaged foods that have food that has been cooked by a corporation and that is sitting on a shelf or in a fridge or whatever ready to eat. That's another way you can't do it. When corporations cook your food, when they put it together, you're always going to be paying health costs. So that's why this is all about helping you get in the kitchen, learning different cooking techniques, hacks, tips, tricks, etc., things you probably didn't know or at least need reminded of, so that you can get back to the foundation of what every optimal human diet should be, which is cooking real food at home. All right, so let's just pick 3 real quick and get into it. Animal-based nutrition, you probably know that as well. I'm not going to go into that one. Let's find some. Okay, here's a good one. So this is a cooking-specific technique, but here's a simple and delicious butter sauce. And then there's a quote at the top. With enough butter, anything is good. And I agree. All you need for this recipe is 2 tablespoons of pastured butter, 2 to 3 egg yolks, salt, and a dash of lemon juice. Okay? So you do it like this. Heat the butter in a small pot over low heat. Separate the egg yolks and place those in a blender with a dash of salt and a squeeze of lemon. When the butter's melted, but not too hot because you don't want the butter to cook the yolks, you're going to remove from the stove and you're going to let it cool for a minute or 2. Then you're going to turn your blender on that has the yolks on low, and you're going to slowly pour the butter until it emulsifies. Avoid pouring too fast. Keep the blender on low. Once the butter's incorporated, taste and adjust with salt and lemon until it's delicious. This is kind of like a hollandaise. It's like a quick hollandaise that is egg yolk and butter and a little bit of salt and lemon, and it is just amazing. And you could probably make this with a whisk, but a blender is just really easy. It's delicious, and I don't know how long it'll keep in the fridge, but I've kept it in the fridge for a few days. I know it's like raw eggs, so I don't know. I don't take my advice on how long to keep in the fridge. Maybe just consume it and make it at mealtime. But it is amazing. And it comes out thick and emulsified and saucy. So good. All right, let's get another one. Okay, number 11. You probably know this because we talk about omad, fasting, whatever. But if you aren't hungry, don't eat. Now, of course, if you're trying to gain weight, you might want to break this rule from time to time. But this idea that we have to force ourselves to eat, that's like a modern nutrition dogma invention. That's just nonsense, okay? We already know that fasting is a beneficial stress to our species. If we're not hungry, that's our body saying we don't eat and we shouldn't eat. English proverb, he who eats until he is sick must fast until he is well. Rarely should you force yourself to eat. There are some exceptions, of course. I tell everyone to read up on intermittent fasting and incorporate it into their routine. Here's why. The human body is not designed to eat 3 square meals a day. This is actually just a modern invention. Most people have never gone more than a few hours without eating their entire life. Like, think about that. You grow up, you're being fed on a schedule. Then you're toddler and you get fed on a schedule. And then you're a teenager and you're fed on a schedule. And then there's school lunches, whatever. And then you're at home and you're fed on a schedule. With 6 billion humans, there's people that have not gone more than a few hours, aside from sleep at night, like a few waking hours, without eating consistently. That's pretty crazy, especially if you understand where our species came from and what is most conducive for long-term health and well-being, and how it's just so unnatural to eat consistently. Yeah, so if you're not hungry, don't eat. Let's do one more before I let you go. And of course, if you want to get this, you can get it on Amazon. $2.99 for Kindle is a special right now before it goes up. And this is $9.99 for the paperback. And it's short, easy to read tips and tricks that you can kind of skim through, read a few at a time. You can, ear tag or dog tag. I don't know what that's called, where you do this with and then, yeah. Like if you get one tip out of here that can help you cook a little bit more, eat a little bit more in the kitchen, eat a little bit more at home rather than eating out, then it will have been worth the investment, because the dividends it's going to pay in your health over the long run are just too many to count. Okay, so here's a good one. Get to know your farmer. Rule number 3. The ultimate goal of farming is not the growing of crops, but the cultivation and perfection of human beings. That's awesome. Masanobu Fukuoka. Probably got that wrong. Getting to know your farmer can be as simple as buying from the same farmer at your local farmer's market each week. Or it could be as involved as going to local farms and building a relationship with your farmer. You don't have to become best friends with your food purveyors, though you may want to. Either way, make it a point to get on a first-name basis with the people that produce your food. Ask questions about how the food is grown or raised. Ask them about the challenges of being a small farmer. Otherwise, just empathize and get to know the people that produce your food, and it's going to be a very rewarding pursuit. And if it leads to it, form connections with the people that feed you. You won't regret doing this. Food and community are built-in human needs, so you may as well combine them if you can. So that's it. I'll do more videos where we eventually get all 50 of the tips in here. Nice little kitchen campaign and reminder to just get in the kitchen, cook more real food, and make that the foundation, if it isn't already, but make that the foundation of your proper human diet. That is the only way you're going to sustain long-term health. When you eat at restaurants, when you're letting seed oils and cross-contamination, other crap that isn't normally in your diet, when you let that slip in because you're eating packaged corporate food or restaurant food, your health is going to pay a price. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey, Colin here. Got a freebie for you. Click on the button below to go to theancestralmind.com and download the 7 Principles of Living Wild. This is a short PDF that's got some of the main principles, such as real food, sleep, movement, and a couple more that are going to help you live more ancestrally in accordance with your genes.